And guess what? It's new guitar day again. So I made the trip to Michigan yesterday to pick this puppy up. It was a long day. And this is one of those guitars that I really don't like the style, but I had to buy it because it's yellow and black and it matches my truck. Picture. I like the sarcophagus, and this is a nice solid foam. It's not the styro foam, the one that flakes apart. Oh my gosh, it's really tight. Okay, I can hardly get my hand around it. Okay, well, that's beautiful. Nicely shaped. With another one in the bottom, so yeah, they made sure this guitar was well protected. Now this is my first WestCreek guitar, and according to my grapevine, apparently the makers of WestCreek and Musi are friends. And I think that's why there's a lot of similar features happening on both of these types of guitars. Get that past the headstock. Wow. Wow, that headstock is just beautifully gorgeous. Polished. And because that's not that crinkly styrofoam, there's no little bits everywhere. Unfortunately, these bags, though, do catch on everything. And so, in order not to prolong my agony, boom, we'll just pull it straight off. Yes, indeed, when I saw this color available only in the US, they have two colors in Canada, the black one and the red one, for $299.99. But this one in the yellow, I thought, wow, man, that is my truck. Matches my truck from 2019. Now, you know, I believe there was enough space for these things to the jacks to actually come out the bottom. Why they ever designed it like this, I'm not really sure. But yes, so the WestCreek has a slight bevel here on the edge, like the Musi's does, but it's only on the top section, stops about here. Nothing on the bottom except for over here, right there. Oh, it's got the small volute right there at the base of the neck for structural purposes. And this looks like it's one piece, right? There's no you know, heel joint. There's no block here, which is another thing I thought, well, oh, that looks nice. That's a nice feature. The only thing is, though, is that this damn thing is right where your hand would go here. So not so good from that perspective, having this strap lock there. And I saw that on the pictures and I thought, that looks like it's going to be in the way of the hand. And if you're up here, it is. And if you have a strap on it, it's probably going to annoy you a tiny bit more. All right. It has chevrons for the fret markers. The 12th are red, and on the pictures it showed that the edge of the chevrons looked like it could be black and red, but it's actually not. It's just red surrounded by the pearl, which are nice. That's a nice touch as well, that they're different than anything else. Stainless steel frets like the M Musi. All the edges are very nicely done. Probably will need a fret job. The action is high. The neck is relatively straight. And with the action high, the bridge is only up about 1/8 of an inch. And because this is a set neck, not a whole lot you're going to be able to do unless you take some meat off the end of your saddle bridge, to make it be able to sit lower if you really need it to go lower than what you can get. Now when I put the roller on here, that makes these strings sit higher at this point, and I've often had this problem now on a few guitars. Let's see, if that was lower, check the nut. Strings in the nut look like they would need to go down. The nut is very nice and well cut as it is right now. No debris. Well, no. And none of the strings are binding in the slots, so that's good. The tuners have the large buttons on them. I like these larger buttons. They're like the ones that come on the 335s. Now somebody said there was slop in these tuners. This one does. Yeah. This one's not. That one's not. That one is. That one's not terrible. So there's 2 out of the 6 that are. So other than that, this is not a sticker. This is paint. And it's clear coated over the top of it. My daughter works in the automotive business, and I was going to ask her if she had a black Ram head sticker that I could put on here. It'd be my Ram guitar, match my truck. Okay, so there's a slight bevel here in the front as well on this horn. Now I watched what's his name? Motor House somebody did this 2 weeks ago. He's in Oregon. He said the inside of the horns were a bit rough. Mine are not. So yes, pretty much there's no rough spots. Shines pretty nice in the light. Once I do, there might be a tiny little spot here, unless it's just dirt. Right here on this, right as the back goes down into the bevel, I think there's a tiny little rough spot here. Neck is smooth. So, yeah, it turns out that it's a nice specimen. Now, this is only the second guitar that I have in this style. The other one is my Harley Benton DC Deluxe, which has the jack coming out here. It is a thicker profile, like an LP, and I think these horns are reversed, where the top one is a little further out than the bottom one, and it's in the Pelham blue. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjustment. There are no plastics on the pickups. They are chrome, they're nicely done, but there's no plastics on them. There is plastic on the pick guard, and the pick guard seems to be in 2 pieces. The one piece that's here, and then the tiny little piece that fills in the gap between the neck pickup and the heel. And there's plastic on that as well. So yes, they just had to bridge that area with that little piece of plastic pick guard. I have a plan to change this tailpiece to something new that I haven't done before, and add, of course, the roller bridge. All right, so I'm gonna let's see if the pots are. I hear a ch-ch-ch-ch, but that can be normal for a lot of different pots. Not so much on the volumes. Oh yeah, that one does. Only this one doesn't. It does. They all do. Now, they're known for having full-size pots in some of their guitars, so we'll see what's in there. It's very likely these pickups are 4-wire, because I just saw J-Man do Helios Les Paul Junior style, and the pickups in there were 4-wire. Let us read what the measurements are on this one. Plug the long end in there. They also don't use the 4-pronged jack like M-Music does. Pure tone, the pure tone style. All right, so where are we? We're up, we're on the bridge. We're too high. 9.45. Okay, that is exactly in the range that was on the Les Paul Junior, and 754 was exactly what was on the Les Paul Junior, and 4 something in the middle, and exactly the same 423 in the middle. So all in the same range. So I believe that between the Les Paul Juniors and this, and likely a couple of other models, they're using the exact same pickups on all of the guitars, because they all seem to be coming in that range. I've seen other people measure them as well. All right, so we know we've got output because I can read the pickups. So let me move to my bench number 1, where I do my setups and stuff, and I'll do the best I can, figure out what issues I might have with that, and then we'll see what kind of sound I can get out of it. I watched the WestCreek video that was done by them, and the other thing that, besides the color, that drew me to it is that I really liked the sound the guy was getting out of the pickups on this guitar. Now, whether it was a production version or something, I don't know, but he sold me on the color and the tones that he was putting out from the pickups on this guitar. All right, to the other bench, and I'll see what I can do there. All right, so I've tuned it up at the height that it is, and normally necks meet the body somewhere around the 17th fret. And this one, it doesn't. It hits right at the top. How many? 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 frets. So it actually meets the body at the 22nd fret. Now this is 4, 5, 6, 7. It's probably way above. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. It's 7/64 down here. You know, if I go 17, it's 6. So the bridge definitely would need to go down. And on this thing, it's pretty easy to do. Let's see what the other side is like. Yeah, equally up, and it equally has an amount of travel. Somebody mentioned that this is called the Nashville Bridge, and that the screws are supposed to be facing the tailpiece, because the notches in the strings are cut larger on this side for the low E string. But I've never really seen Asian guitars worry about the size of the notches. This one could very well be like that. I think, well, it might be just because it's a smaller string, but it very well could be that this end is slightly larger notch than this side, so it could very well be reversed. And the fellow that said that did reverse it and said it was fine. Also for intonation purposes, there's a collar on the screw in this on the front side, and he was having a problem being able to intonate the D string. And by turning it around, the saddles can go all the way to the back wall, and gave him more travel, and it worked out perfectly. So I would think that there's probably um, almost an eighth of an inch, uh, behind the wall inside where there's a collar on the screw that you can't. It is an eighth of an inch that you can't get it to travel forward. It'll butt up against that, but if you turn it around, you'll be able to get full travel. And quite often, it's because the strings are flat, and you need to be able to go towards the neck with your saddles in order to intonate it properly, and you can't get enough travel. I've seen some people, depending on where they were, they'll try to take this out, turn that specific saddle around, and they've been able to accomplish it that way as well. But we shall see. So I've stretched at least once. They're still stretching. The factory strings don't look terribly corroded or anything. Now I also made a note here while I was over the top of it, is that J-Man's video yesterday on his Helios LP, he said, oh look, the strings are right over the screws, and as you can see here on my neck, when you get to the G string, they start to go a little bit north of that, and then when you get down here, it's right on the edge of the screw. It's not really over the center there, like it should be there and there. These three are not bad. Down here, they're all okay. So the pickup installation is probably just north a little bit, south I should say, if that's south and this is north, where it could be, but I'm a little thinking it might be something else, because I mean these three are good, and it could be the spacing of the pickup itself. It's supposed to be like 52 and 50, so I'll measure that and see what I come up with. And let's see where I am now. I'm all over the place here. That's at 4. It can go down a little bit more. Measure the bottom. Clink, clink. I got clink, clink. Okay, it's just under 4 there. I'm going to go somewhere on the 17th fret anywhere, which is where I normally do this. Okay, my bridge is bottomed out on that side, which I thought it was going to. And there I can get 3.5 on that side. Alright, take up the slack again. I'll have to retune this when I get to the amp anyway, but I just want to check it now when it's close. That A tuner that I felt slop in, I'm not feeling it now. Might have been just because the string was too loose. These tuners are pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. Better than the average bear. Yeah, they're all pretty good now with proper tension. So I don't perceive I would need to change these tuners at this point. All right, uh, let's see what I got. Let's see what I got. Truss rod. Truss rod is right about where I normally would like it. Yep. Okay. Let's see if I can generate any buzzing at this point, which I perceive there should be. There it is. And so one of these ends is high. There, 9, 8, and 9 a little bit. Again, 8. Some up there. Base side seems not bad. Yeah, so it's mostly the treble side that's having some buzzing at that action. So yeah, there will have to be a few of those taken down, and then it'll be okay. Now let's see what the nut's doing. Oh yeah, that's too high. That's too high. Yes, every one of them is too high over the first fret. They need to be lower as well. So once that's done, I'll really be able to know what kind of action. If I take that down here a tad, I might be able to get that bridge up tiny little bit, just a hair. But the hair that will go up with the rollers on here that sit higher, I am going to have a problem with the height of saddles. I am, definitely am. Now because this is also a set neck, nothing I can do about, you know, tilting it and keeping the bridge up so I can get the proper action and you know, fix all the buzzing. You gotta adjust the saddle, and the only way I found to do that is to go to my belt sander and take meat off the bottom of the end so that I can get more travel on the top of this thing. And sometimes changing this screw to a thinner shoulder, because the shoulders on these are quite thin. They're pretty. They call them thumb screws, but you could never actually do that with your thumb, and you can't grab them. They're just there for show. And if those are thinner, you can get maybe a tiny little bit more height travel on it. But likely it's gonna be meat off the end of the base of the saddle. All right, next step, amplifier behind me. Alrighty, I'm set up. Let's plug her in. I keep looking on the bottom for a jack. Alrighty. Alrighty. Intonation is off a little bit. I checked after I turned you off on the other bench. On the E, A, a little bit on the D, and the E they're flat, and the high E is sharp. But it looks like there's travel on this bridge. Yeah, see this, the low E is flat because, I mean, the saddle is all the way, you know, towards the base. That was middle. Not as much growl as I had hoped for. I can fix that with some stuff. That's the 9. Here's the 7. Again, standard settings, just light reverb and delay, none of the other stuff. I am having trouble fretting here, a bit high. Alright, compressor. Now that makes the neck sound a little bit less muddy. Yeah, that brings those up a bit. Vintage overdrive. That just makes it louder muddy. US Dream. Yeah, all the same. So, let's switch to the other patch I would normally use for a lead with the fuzz. The fuzz gives the fuzz. Still higher than I'd like. I'm probably going to have to take a little bit more of that relief out of the neck. There's not much there, but I'll probably have to take a little bit more out of it. And of course I'm going to use these factory strings to set up a roller bridge for the height I'm looking for and cut down the nut to the proper height over the first fret here. This is really high. It should be a 18th thou and 16th thou on these three, and it's definitely somewhere in the 22, 23, maybe a little bit more on that side. Less so on the high E. High E is the best one. It's very close. Probably about 18, 19, and all the other ones are. It gets higher as you go up the fret. Up the strings, I should say. All right, the headstock on this thing is just beautiful. Black, shiny, glossy. Look at the light there. See? Black, shiny, glossy WestCreek guitars. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. And all you got on the back is some kind of a serial number. No made in the USA or any such crap like that, like you get on many other Asian guitars. I'm probably going to take this button off and just replace that hole with a tiny screw, because that's definitely going to be right in the heel of my hand, and I don't want that. I mean, it's probably the place for it, but it's very uncomfortable there to be up here, and so this is just the getting it in the house, checking it out video, and the rest of it will come later. Thanks for all your support. Catch you in the next one.